Good afternoon, good morning, good night, everybody. It's wonderful to see you here. My name is Sari van Poelje. I'm the director of Intact Academy. At Intact Academy, I train coaches and consultants from beginners to advanced to kick-ass level. Basically, that's technical speak for master level. I also have a business called Agile Business Innovation. And in that business, I help businesses innovate more quickly than their products to accelerate their time to market. It sounds like a mouthful, and it is actually a mouthful, but the idea being that many companies are so old-fashioned, they have great ideas, but they're always too late to market because their business is very old-fashioned. Do you recognize any of that? Some of you are going like this. Yes, Andrea is going like this, so I'll take that as a yes. I help startups, I help family businesses, and I help multinationals innovate their business as a coach, consultant, business coach, really. And I want to tell you a little bit about my experience today. So my purpose today is really to teach you something about what business innovation and agility is in my world. I'm sure we've got some other experts out there. And also to show you a model I've been developing based on the work I've been doing for the past 20 years to help businesses innovate. This is not the truth, it's my truth. So please feel free to be interactive and to add your own experience to this. So how many of you were there yesterday when I gave my team coaching workshop? You just give a show of hands. Anyone was there at the team coaching workshop? 1, 2, 3, well, at least 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's good. Okay, great. So those of you who know me from yesterday know when I hold up this virtual sign, it means it's an interactive moment. So that's your freedom, please, to speak and ask questions. I'll give little pieces of theory and anecdotes, and then I'll just ask you some questions so that we can talk together. I think it's important to open the dialogue as far as I'm concerned. Is that okay with y'all? Yep, I see some nodding. So that's good enough for me. I am taping this session, and the reason for that is that I will make the tape, the recording available on my website, so you can see it afterwards. Yes, Suchi, that's a hands up from you or thumbs up from you. So that's good. I also ask that if you use this material that you please mention me, because this is a book that's going to come out at the end of the year. So there's an Agile Business Innovation coaching book coming out written by me at the end of the year. There's also a television program coming up, so I'm really, really excited about that. I see it as the kind of the I don't know, a high point in any case in sharing. I'm really in my legacy stage as a coach consultant. I've been doing this work for 35 years. So I started my business at 21. Some of you can count, so you can guess how old I am now. I just had my birthday last week, and this is a great celebration for me. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so let's start off with this. How many of you are actually coaches? How many of you are coaches? And show me virtually through your reactions, because showing me physically, I have 2 screens, so it's a bit, no, show me, there's a reaction thing at the bottom of the screen, so you can, okay, coaches, coaches, coaches. Yay, great show of hands. Fantastic. Jeanette, Sasha, oh, fantastic. Okay, how many of
And then when the admin said, "Oh, I'll ask Dr.
oh, wait a second, I'm going to have to do this mute all thing again.
Oh yeah, actually, if this is the
Okay. How many of you are agile coaches? Call yourself agile coaches, whatever that may mean, but how many of you call yourselves agile coaches? Okay, cool. That's really good. Some of you do. So then the next question is for you, if you have a pen and paper ready, just write down for yourself, what does it actually mean to be an agile coach? Apart from the fact that you can turn around very quickly, but what does it mean to be an agile coach to you? Just take a second to write that down. And then we'll have a little talk about it. And if you can, turn on your videos, please. It's much more personal for us to have a dialogue that way. Fantastic. So let's have a little check-in. So can anyone tell me what an agile coach is? This is not a test. I'm truly curious. Anyone, speak and be heard.
Can I speak? Rama,
Yes, of course you can. Rama, go for it.
So I'm just guessing. It's not like I know. I guess an agile coach would be somebody who's open to change.
Okay. Well, that's a good start. Yep, great.
The way I perceive it and the way I've seen it at work is like using the agile methodology tools in combination with coaching teams and supporting them in sprints, in retrospective, in kickoff meetings. It's like actually it's a multi-hat role for me. The way I have
the Agile Manifesto and then transforming it into something you can do with teams, something like that. Okay, cool. Alice loves your definition, so that's good. Anybody else? One other person. Tanya.
To me, yes.
Matt. Hi.
Yes. So
Hi, Matt.
Tanya would like to. Okay. So to me, it's all about first and foremost helping leaders to have the agile mindset. Agile mindset about really transforming from reactive to creative, from certainty to discovery, and then really tapping into their internal power and allow others to manage themselves, create that environment to be a servant leader.
Wow. Okay. So that would mean that you are working on the inner resources of leaders to make them agile, I guess. Okay, that kind of conforms to what Bill Joyner says about it. He wrote a book called Leadership Agility. We've had long discussions about this.
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
Cool. Tanya, last one. What is an agile coach? Yeah, we can't hear you, Tanya. Nope, still can't hear you. An agile coach is silent? No. No, sorry, Tanya, we're not getting you. Write it down in the chat. Nope, write it down in the chat. Okay, cool. So there's different definitions of what agility is. So what I'll tell you what I know, and I'll tell you how I see it. And that doesn't mean anything, but I'll tell you how I see it anyway. So a lot of the literature on agility is kind of a derivative of the IT kind of Agile Manifesto, as many of you know, probably. Those of you who work in IT work a lot with agility. And the Agile Manifesto is really a way to speed up, to accelerate business processes, I think, and to accelerate innovation. Fantastic for that. obviously, because it worked in IT, enterprises, organizations became really interested. Like, if we can do this for IT projects, how can we do it for a whole company? And a lot of people started writing about Agile and innovation as a characteristic, usually as a characteristic of the leader. So a personality, it's almost like you can create more creative people and help them to accelerate their processes, and et cetera, et cetera. I really appreciate that way of thinking, but in this workshop, with me at least, I have a different point of view. So for me, an agile, a company becoming agile and innovative is not a characteristic of personality. It's actually a result of the way you organize yourself. So I have, I guess, a very business-like view of what agility, creating agile and innovative companies means. To me, it means working as a coach consultant. It means working at the structural level. It means working in the relationship with customers. It means working, integrating innovation and execution more, and it means creating more of a cooperative culture. If you're looking for innovation in a business, where you look is usually at the edges. So on the boundary between outside and inside, so between the organization and the customer, that's where innovation is. On the boundary between disciplines, that's where innovation, that friction causes innovation. On the boundary between members of an organization and leadership, that's where innovation is. So when we talk about creating more innovative organizations, at least in my business, we talk about how can we create enough friction, enough structural disruption within a company to create more innovation. When we talk about agility, we're talking about bringing the outside in and creating more cooperation within the structure. So there are many, many, many definitions of agility. My definition is really that it has to do with creating more innovation and acceleration of processes, and it's a result of the way you organize your business. So for me, it's not an intrapsychic characteristic, it's something you can do and learn. So if the reason I'm also saying this is, one, it works for me at least, and the second is, if you define anything as a personality characteristic, it's going to be really hard for us to influence that. So then what you can do as a coach consultant is limited to something very deeply personal. But as a business coach, I'm interested in systemic effects. Okay. So far my little take on this. Does this make sense to you in any way? Any questions about this? Are you asking me to speed up, Alice?
No, I think.
I thought I was going too quickly.
I am speed up. I don't with that.
No, okay.
I'm not asking you to speed up. I don't know how to get rid of that.
We're going to call you Speed Up from now on.
Call me Speedy.
Hello.
Hiya. Who am I talking to?
Good morning. Sorry, please.
Hi, Christina.
Hi. Who creates that this methodology, Agile?
Originally, or this one that I'm going to speak about, is created by me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. For example,
I stand on the shoulders of giants, so it's not, I mean, it's me and everyone who came before me, so that's...
Okay, someone can create a methodology about agile coach, agile, about this methodology.
Are you
someone can
asking for
create,
references?
anyone can create a methodology?
I'm not really sure what you're asking. So the Agile Manifesto is well documented. You can find it anywhere on Google if you want to reference. But this, what I'm going to talk about in the workshop, is created by me so
Okay.
far. Okay? Cool. Any other questions? Just comments on agility is more than a personal characteristic. It's a result of the way you organize your business.
I think if I may say that what you described is I would say, effective in a way that you're creating that structure to produce result. At the same time, in order to produce that result, you really also need to work on the mindset, on the culture, so that this will be the byproduct will be the result.
I disagree, Matt, but that's fine if you do it that way. It's okay. I do the structure first and then the people. Yeah. Okay, so are you interested in kind of entering my world and then holding on to your own stuff and thinking, what does this mean for me? Is that okay with y'all? Yep. Okay, let's go. Let's rock and roll. So, da-dum. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Okay. So one of the bases on which I created this is I was kind of reviewing what I was doing with businesses in my capacity as an agile business coach. And I was kind of looking at what are they asking me and what am I actually offering them? And in that review of the 35 years of work, I was finding strands of work where I thought, oh, actually, at the root of everything, most companies ask me kind of the same things. So, especially today. So most companies that I work with come to me and they say, we really need an agile business coach. And one of the typical problems we're having is we're too slow to market. We've got brilliant ideas, but we're always too late. Our competitors are quicker than we are. I worked, for instance, with a very famous flavor and fragrance company, the biggest unknown multinational I think we have. And they were saying we were number one, now we're number 4. We've got great perfumers, but we're always too late. Help us get back to number 1. So accelerating time to market is really one of the main things in this. The other thing that businesses were telling me was we're losing customer engagement. So they were closing off their business and really becoming more expert-like, where these experts were thinking, oh, we know best what's good for the customers, instead of engaging the customers in helping them to innovate. Customers felt done to instead of done with, if that makes sense to you. So you can only do expert innovation for some time because you have to renew all the time. The best innovators are really, for ideas, are your customers, because they know what's missing. The other problem the businesses came with, to me at least, was we're not getting the top talent. And what they were meaning is we're getting the traditional kind of leadership, but we're losing the young people. They're getting disheartened in working in bigger businesses where they have to adapt to standardized processes and roles. So we really want to find a way to create a business which is more agile and more young, if you like getting a startup mindset into big business is what they were meaning. Does that make sense? Yeah. And the startup mindset is you think it, you do it, and you check afterwards, and then you improve it. That's kind of the agile mindset they were looking for and what young people are looking for today as well. One of the biggies as well was the lack of cross-functional creativity or cooperation. Now, most businesses, bigger businesses at least, are organized along specializations. And all these specializations have their own KPIs and their own targets. And they think that they have nothing at all to do with the other departments in the organization. So the organizations usually don't function as a whole, and they don't exploit these differences in discipline, but also in really this friction that they're not using the friction between multidisciplinary thinking enough to innovate. And so, you know, if you grow as a company, of course you have to specialize. Like as you grow as a company, you're going to make a differentiation hierarchically, but also disciplinary kind of differentiation. But as you do that, you're going to lose this integrative, deeper look at the whole, which is necessary for innovation. So as agile, innovative coaches and consultants, what we can also offer is this cross-functional cooperation, which gets this fire going again. The other thing that the businesses that came to me were coming with is we've got command and control leadership styles. I guess a lot of you have suffered from that, but also have a lot to do with that in your work as coaches or consultants. Look, all these leaders have got the spiel. They've got kind of the PR talk about I'm a coaching leader and I do this and I do that. But basically still a lot of what I meet in businesses, I don't know about you, but a lot of what I meet is still pretty directive, top-down stuff. Most leaders don't understand that, of course, they can do a strategy top-down, but they need the work floor experience to create a real strategic dialogue which will direct the company. We call that, they need an emerging change dialogue. And a lot of the leaders still think that if they do top-down, that it'll happen. But what they actually need to organize in an agile, innovative business is the top-down kind of plan change and then the bottom-up dialogue for emergent change. Once those two things meet, you get much more agility and innovation in your company. Okay, so this is the stuff that I met in my practice. And I'm really wondering, does this make sense to you? Is this something that you're getting as well? These kind of things? Anything I'm missing in this that you get a lot of? Siranur. Hey, welcome back from yesterday.
Hey.
Yay. No. No. Anything to add from Patricia or Jeanette or? No? You're good? Okay. We'll continue. So given the problems I was getting, kind of, I was thinking, how can I help these businesses in a way that makes sense? And really, one of my pet things, I'm not sure I can play it for you, but you can look it up later. One of my pet things is if you want to become agile and innovative, you really have to move from an individual leadership focus to a team agility focus. So a lot of the business are still thinking and recruiting leaders where they think they have the next kind of messiah up there. They're going to change everything in the business individually. It's not possible. If you want to have an agile, innovative business, you really have to embrace the idea that we have to move from an individual paradigm to a team paradigm. The problems today are much too big for one person to solve. The only way we're going to solve them is if we accept interdependence. If we actually say to each other, listen, you know, whatever the innovative challenge we've got, it's not a question of, can I do it? It's a question of what can we do together that we can't do alone? You know, that's the basic question. And I say this as a very passionate business coach, but I also say this as a person. I have a very firm belief that if we don't move towards a team and a community paradigm in the world, we are not going to solve the problems today. So I'm all for that. And I hope that all of us are, certainly in this profession, are pushing towards the same direction. Because, yeah. I see. Alice, for some reason, you're always to the right of me. So I'm seeing you nod, which is really encouraging. Thank you very much for that.
Can I share something about this?
Please do.
This really turns me on, and it's very affirming because I've been working in a company where it's very top-down command kind of leadership. And really this thought is counterintuitive because people feel like they can move faster with one person making the decisions and commanding, but you don't move faster if you don't have that engagement from your team. You don't have that endearment. You don't have that connection, you know, that cohesion. And I find that a lot of times in the C-suite and that level, there's a lot of a God complex where it's like, this is what we need to do and it's just going to be done, but you need the team. You get your results through the people. So I love what you're saying here.
Thanks a lot. Yes, it's also, you know, if anyone from HR is in here, it's also, I used to be global director of HR. So it's also our fault. I can say this from my profession, because we tend to recruit people on the basis of their individual achievements instead of their ability to work in a team. And we've really got to get our act together, because if we keep on doing that, we'll never get this sense of interdependence we need in companies. So, you know, I take my part of the responsibility for that as well. But I wish it for the world, by the way. So that's the thing. So my focus as an agile innovative coach, business coach, is really to create agile structures, innovative cultures, and inspiring leadership teams. This rolls off the tongue very easily. So if you want to use it as tagline, please do. If, you know, because if management asks you, so what do you do as an agile coach? You can just tell them, I create agile structures, innovative cultures, and inspiring leadership teams. So that's my basic answer to what does an agile coach do? Now you know. The idea is really that, you know, when you develop a business and you help develop a business from your role as a coach or a consultant, the client development, product development, and organizational development have to be synchronized. So it means that if you have more clients, obviously you need more people in your organizational development, if that makes sense. If you're going to develop more products, you're going to need more money in your organizational development. So when I say agile structure, innovative culture, inspiring leadership teams, I'm actually also talking about the synchronicity between helping teams and businesses develop their clients, client portfolio, their products, and their organizational development. And our job is really to synchronize that team organizational development to make it possible for them to do their client and product development. Okay, so now you've got my take on what it means, this job. The definition of agility is not so rocket sciencey. I think a lot of people have this definition. So in the end, what you're looking for is the ability ability to anticipate and innovate in a coordinated manner. That's the agile structure part, to meet the needs of a turbulent environment. Some people talk about VUCA environments. I hate that word, so let's just call it a turbulent environment. And certainly today with COVID and climate change and all the bigger problems we have today, we really have to start to move quickly in a coordinated manner. So agility for me is a very important thing. Okay, so far, still on board? Yep. So let's talk a little bit about how to do that. And this is the grand reveal kind of thing. This is, this is it. Over time, I've really thought, what are the dimensions and factors that I need to be able to influence if I want to help a business become agile and innovative. And really, there's an order to this as well. I'm going to talk about these different factors, but there are 4 dimensions, 8 factors. It's easy, 4 dimensions, 8 factors, okay? The first dimension is, for easy, work title, we'll call it anticipation. This has to do with your capacity, the capacity of the organization or the team to go out into the world, meet their customers, bring the narrative of the customers back. Nowadays, traditional companies, of course, they do all their marketing research and we've got beautiful Excel sheets, and that's all great. To do really innovative stuff, you need the narrative, the storytelling about the
Innovation here.
Oh, sorry. Are you here? Yep, I'm hearing someone. Okay, we call that looping and learning. So people have to go out, get the story of the customer, come back, put their feet on the table, we say in Dutch, in the management team, and go, so what does this mean to us? It's not a cognitive exercise. It's really head, heart exercise. You need to listen to the stories of your customers. This flavor and fragrance company, I'll tell you a story about this, because this flavor and fragrance company I was working with to create more agile and innovative stuff, they had moved from 1st place to 4th place and they got really worried. Their shareholders also got really worried. And they said, but how can we, we're losing our customers, what can we do? And one of the things that I was really pushing with them is, how can you involve your customers much more in the innovations you're doing in perfume and washing powder and whatever they were doing? And really what we were doing was we created student groups, student panels in every country. The students would have little iPads where they would walk around the city noting the new flavors and fragrances in the marketplaces in their villages and cities. They would feed that back to the perfumers. The perfumers would go, what does that mean to us? And I remember vividly sitting in a perfumers meeting and all these, well, they were all guys sitting around a table, and the head perfumer coming in and saying, okay, we have a new challenge. We have to make a washing powder that smells like the happiest day in your life. And I was sitting there as a coach consultant going, what are they going to do? Washing powder, happiest day of your life. And they actually went around talking about their happiest day in their life. So what did it smell like when I got married? Seriously, these are perfumers. There's a couple of them that are really good in the world. So they're a bit quirky, but very highly paid. Going around the table, what was my happiest day of my life? What did it smell like? What did it taste like? And then at the end, the head perfumer gets up and he goes, he writes down a chemical formula and he goes, so these are the ingredients. And people were going, yes. And I was going, what happened here? I didn't. And what they actually were doing was they were looping in to their customer base and learning from it. And what we created there as a looping learning is these students were going around collecting data on flavors and fragrances in each country, feeding it back to the perfumers so that they could actually integrate that in their new innovations for flavor and fragrance. Amazing stuff. They really fantastic work they do. But it's a testament to what does it mean to loop and learn. Most companies that are traditional stay internal. They start to think about what do we know best for our customers instead of going out and bringing back the narrative. And even if they do that, they come back and they make it a cognitive exercise, which is what's the data, kind of what is the trend, which is also really important, but you need the narrative stuff as well to be truly innovative. Okay, so much for looping and learning. Anticipation, dimension 1, 2 factors. Dimension 2 has to do with innovation. And this has to do with usually the integration of commercial functions. If you want to, commercial functions and innovation, R&D functions in a team. So you've got the great idea people, and then you've got the makers and the sellers. Usually these functions are split in businesses, in traditional businesses. You've got R&D, you've got production, you've got marketing and sales. Often marketing and sales is selling things that R&D hasn't even thought of yet because they want to please the customer. Production is way behind. They're going, what? You've sold it. You haven't even thought it, but we can't make it. So part of becoming an agile, innovative company is really factor 2, is this integration of commerce and innovation. It's something that I am also really stimulating as an agile innovation coach. So not to split this big idea stuff and the making and the selling stuff, because that really splits the friction between these disciplines, so it reduces your ability to be agile and innovative. I'll say more later, huh? So I'm just giving you an idea. So I worked at a big multinational that makes computers. Well, everybody knows them anyway. And what we actually did as a pilot was to integrate, to create new teams where commerce and production were together in one team. And it created beautiful innovation, very quick, agile thinking on behalf of that company to create more solutions for their customers. Okay, so far you're still with me? So dimension 1, anticipation, looping and learning. Dimension 2, innovation. How do you integrate ideas, making and selling? You know, thank you, Matt. You're still with me. That's great. Luis, are you still with me? Yep. Okay, cool. Dimension number 3 has to do with sense and structure. It's kind of purpose and positioning, if you want. Here we're looking for really creating or recreating a why for the team or the company. So everyone is going in the same direction, shared purpose, and creating a structure that supports the purpose. There is not one best structure. But the best structure is something that supports the purpose at that moment of the team or the organization. Leaders always tell me, you know, give me the structure that we need. No, it's like breathing. You need to create a structure that breathes with the purpose and the organization. And I'll talk a bit more about that later. This is really purpose, positioning, or sense and structure, depending on, you know, where you come from. Dimension number 3. Dimension number 4 has to do with partnership and priorities. I've called it team ability in my book, but that's, you know, it has to do with partnership and priorities. So it has to do with the ability to set very clear priorities. Most people in traditional companies at the top, they think they have a strategy. Next level down, they translate it into priorities. People on the work floor don't know what they have to do because there's 100 priorities they have to do at the same time. One of the real important things, if you want to create agile and innovative teams, is that you have, I always kind of reduce it to 4 main priorities every 6 months. And that's not a semantic exercise. So everyone's going in the same direction. That takes quite a lot of doing. But it forces people to think in terms of very short iterations. This is the Agile Manifesto, very short iterations of success. And that way, if people have success within 6 months, they get really excited, they have enough energy for the next iteration, and that creates a really sparky, you know, startup feeling in the organization as a whole. The partnership part has to do with creating cross-functional cooperation. The team ability has to do with, okay, you're not only responsible for your part, your KPI, we are together responsible for the team as a whole or the company as a whole. That means we do what it takes. So agile innovative teams or companies don't really have a 9-to-5 attitude. They do the work that needs to be done to satisfy the customer and to get the innovation out there. But cross-functional cooperation means you create a culture where people feel interdependent. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's a very big ask. It means that you have to ask people to say, if I'm successful, you're successful. If I fail, you fail. But we're going to win together and lose together. That's what it means to be, to really be a team and to really be in partnership. Most teams are not teams, they're groups. So most of the people we work with are not teams. I get asked for team development a lot, and I say, you're not a team, you're a group, because you're all working independently with your own KPIs. There's absolutely no acceptance of interdependence. So I'm going to help you become, you know, from a group to a team, but this is not, you know, in any stretch of the imagination team coaching yet. When we want to create agile, innovative teams, we really have to go towards that partnership and acceptance of interdependence. Yeah, Patricia is going like this, so I guess that makes sense to someone, which is already great. Okay, so that was the 4th dimension. So as I said, over the past, consciously over the past 15 years, I've been developing agile, innovative teams and companies. And what it comes down to is 4 dimensions, 8 factors. Each dimension has 2 factors, as you can see, a red and a blue. The red, I did the red and blue because one is more cognitive and one is more heartfelt, but also one is the going out and the other one is going in. So there's this we call it a lemniscat. I don't know how you say that in English. This perpetual movement between going outside and then coming back in, learning, going outside, coming back in. That's what an agile, innovative team does. Yeah, does that make sense? That's why this picture is a bit of a, you know, it feels very 2-dimensional, but you could actually draw it as a perpetual, something in perpetual motion like this. Yeah. Some people ask me when they see this, can we, you know, compensate our low performance in one area with high performance in the other? The answer is no. I'll tell you right away, no. If you're really good at partnership and you're really bad at learning, it's not going to create an agile, innovative team. If you're really good at innovation, but you're really lousy at priority setting, you're never going to become agile or innovative. So that's one of the questions I always ask. So I'm going to be proactive and answer it immediately for you. The other thing people ask me, why eight dimensions or factors, why not more? Well, because based on the research I've done, this is what works, period. And if you do your own research and find something else, I'd be delighted to hear about it, because then we can exchange points of view.